Welcome to the Level 1 Lounge, where we give our uneducated takes on anything and everything gaming. For today, I am joined by my two regular co-hosts. We are back to our normal schedule again. So, the author of Shade Falling, we have got Irish Bandit Rob.
Yep.
And the owner of the New Geek Corner Facebook page, we have Agent Maverick 86.
Nice to see you guys.
Yeah,
Glad to be back. Yeah.
We
Took a
missed you
little
last.
time off, went to see Metallica last week out in
Yeah.
Edmonton. Was fantastic. So back to real life. So it's nice to be back.
Yeah, now we're back to our regularly scheduled news podcasts.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about a lot more gaming news. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, we're going to power up the system here. We're going to talk about upcoming games for the month of September. So it is almost September. Where's the freaking summer gone, guys? Like,
right?
What happened? We kind of blinked through a couple of these showcases, and all of a sudden, you know, we're staring down back to school season already. But in any case, yeah. So here is the list of upcoming games that we got that are releasing this coming month in September. A few of us have a couple of little blurbs to say about some of these games as well. The first one, Rob has got something to mention here, is the casting of Frank Stone, which releases on September 3rd for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. So, Rob, you've been eyeing this one up.
Well, this is from the Dead by Daylight universe, so that's what really is interesting me about it, because I haven't played for a while, but I do love Dead by Daylight. I need to get back into it, though. But I'm wondering how it's going to be. Is it going to be a story-based game? Like, is it, because, you know, Dead by Daylight is that asymmetrical type of game that was popular. Was it ever popular? I don't know. But is this going to have more of a story to it? Yeah.
Actually, this one is more of a narrative, actually, Rob. This is going to have...
I would definitely look forward to that, because I've said in the past how much I like story in my game. So
yeah. This one's actually going to be more like Detroit Become Human. He actually wrote that last one, so it's kind of that interactive story type game. So this is going to have kind of like the same feel as Until Dawn, almost. So it's going to be that kind of horror game. So this is one that I'm actually looking forward to as well.
Yeah,
cool.
I'll be looking forward to seeing that one on your channel there, Rob.
Yeah, when I get around to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it looks interesting. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah. All right. And then also on September 3rd, which is also going to be going on PlayStation Plus Day 1, we do have Quidditch Champions, which is coming out for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. We have Age of Mythology Retold for September 4th. That's coming out on PC and Xbox. This one I know Mav is going to be talking about. You've heard him mention this one on the pod before. Astrobot comes out September 6th for PlayStation 5. Mav, what have you been thinking about this one?
This one, I'm not the only one in this household that's actually looking forward to this. My other half, I'll just refer to her as Taz, played I guess it would be like the tech demo Astrobot, and at release, and platinumed it. It was the first platinum that she's ever gotten, first and only. But it's just a fun little platformer that kind of feels like a little bit of a tech demo. This one, though, is going to be 4 times as long. There's supposed to be 80 levels that are actually included with this. The best thing about this game is it's not full priced as well. So it's a little bit easier on everyone's checkbooks. But it just looks like a bunch of fun. You know, you have the PlayStation mascots being done as little Astrobots like Nathan Drake, Kratos. They're all going to make appearances as Astrobots, and just Easter eggs throughout the whole game. So it's going to be basically fun for the whole family when it comes to this one. So I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be pretty excited for that one. And next up, we have Ace Attorney Investigations Collection coming out September 6th. Overruled.
The same.
This one comes out September 6th for PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and Xbox One? Yeah. And PS4. So it's coming out on previous gen models and not current gen models, which is a bit of an interesting...
Cross-platform, yeah, it'll work.
Yeah. The next one, Mav is also very, very excited about. I know a lot of people are excited about this one. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 drops on September 9th. This is for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. Mav, I know you've been super excited about this one for a while.
Yes, this one is my most anticipated game of the year. Sorry, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7, I was excited for, but the more I've seen about this game, the more and more excited I'm getting. It's bloody, and it looks like fun with friends. Like it's 3-person co-op. I mean, I'm not huge into the Warhammer universe. I haven't had the opportunity to really get into it much yet. This is going to be my intro to it, and it looks so pretty. And the best thing that we've talked about with this game is there's no microtransactions, and there's not going to be any story DLCs that they're adding because it's going to be a complete game. Yes, there's gold editions. Yes, there's ultimate editions, but it's all cosmetics that are coming out with this game. So my hat's off to this developer for that, and I can't wait to get my hands on this.
Yeah, I know this one's gonna be interesting to see. There's gonna be a lot of content creators out there that are gonna be streaming, creating YouTube content on this one. So it'll be interesting to see. But next up we have Rugrats: Adventures in Gameland coming out September 10th for PC, PlayStations 4 and 5, Switch, and Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X. We also have Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. This one arrives September 12th for PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox. The next one coming up is the PC release of Final Fantasy XVI coming out September 17th. Now, I've already played the game and platinumed at just the base game. I haven't actually played the DLC, but I know Rob's been eyeballing this one. I know he's been looking at the demo or looking at playing the demo.
When Ryder said in our chat that it was announced that it was coming to PC and there was a demo, I downloaded the demo immediately after that. I will be playing it on my YouTube channel. I don't know if I'm going to cut it up into different parts or just do the whole playthrough of the demo. I guess it depends on how long the demo is.
It's not long. It won't be long. Yeah.
So it'll probably just be a one and done then until the day I can actually buy the full game. But what's cool about that, what I like about that is that everything carries over from the demo to the main game. So that's really cool. I've seen little bits and pieces of the demo so far. I haven't totally got into it, but what I've seen so far, it looks really good. Cannot wait to play it. And that's going to be coming up on my channel sometime soon. I can't give a definitive day, but it'll be coming sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you play that one too. I had a lot of fun with it. Mav had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, so Platinum that too. Played the DLCs. The DLCs were really, really well done. Yeah. The first one I thought fell a little short. Like it was very, very short. The second one that they had focusing on Leviathan was a lot larger, and I found myself a little bit more invested in the actual story. So it's good. I think you're going to enjoy it.
I think so. Now we need to get a Rebirth on PC.
Yeah, exactly. We're waiting for that day too. So coming up to the next one here, another one that Mav has been interested in. I've kind of been eyeballing this one as well, just because of the popularity amongst content creators. But coming out on September 17th is The Plucky Squire. That's coming out for PC, PlayStation 5, Switch, and Xbox. This one also will be joining, I'm assuming that the PlayStation Plus catalog.
That is correct.
Okay.
So this one, it's the concept is really interesting because it's a 2D platformer, but it's also a 3D platformer.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's really cool is because you end up, traveling around a kid's room, and then you go into a book, one of the books, and then it turns into a 2D fighter platformer. I don't know. The concept behind it is really interesting. It was funny. I was talking to Monster about it, and he goes, "You're interested in like a one of these, like, I can't. Why am I blanking on it? But you're interested in that one. I can't believe it. Is it? Yeah, indie game. I should have known. But yeah, you're interested in an indie game. Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited for this one. I'll likely play it at some point, but." My backlog is starting to look pretty ugly again.
I can add another one to that list. Play Cuphead.
Oh.
All right, so next one we have on the list, Inotria, The Last Song, comes out September 19th for PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox. Then we have Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. I know there's going to be a few Dead Rising fans out there that'll be excited for that one. That one coming out September 19th as well for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. God of War Ragnarok arrives on PC September 19th. I still haven't gotten around to playing that one yet. It is behind me. It's still in the plastic. I haven't actually taken it out of the plastic yet. This was my birthday gift from
You're breaking my heart.
From my brother-in-law over here, Agent Maverick 86. So it's there. And like I said, I have a backlog as well, which I got to try and get through. It's just, maybe 1/100th of the size of your backlog.
We'll get to my backlog at some point when we're talking about what reviews I'm trying to put out, but we'll get there.
Yeah, but regardless, I'm still looking forward to playing Ragnarok anyway. So, but it's on the list. The next one coming up September 20th, which is a PC only release, Frostpunk 2. I know there's some people that are going to be excited about that one as well. The next one, Irish Bandit Rob's been looking forward to this one. I remember when this one was announced that he was excited to see it. But September 24th, we have Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which arrives on PC, PlayStations 4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X and S, and the Nintendo Switch. That comes September 24th. Rob, what has your thoughts been on this particular release?
I played the original Epic Mickey on the Wii when it came out. It was one of the best experiences of I've. Tongue did just decide to stop.
Put your teeth in.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of the best
for mouth not good.
One of the best gaming experiences that I had playing a Disney game, and surprisingly too, for being a game about Mickey Mouse where you're running around with a colorful paintbrush and repainting things, it was actually surprisingly depressing. Like, no joke.
Oh, but that's that's not typically something you hear out of a Disney game.
Not typically, no, but the way the game was made, it was so well done. Such a fun game. I wanted to get into Epic Mickey 2, but couldn't. But I am looking forward to see what they do with Rebrush, because the original game was such an experience. So I'm hoping that I get the same, maybe not the depression feelings, but hopefully I get the same other feelings I had playing the original Epic Mickey.
Yeah, the fun ones.
A few years ago. The fun ones, exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, those feelings. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to this one.
Nice. All right. And then upcoming, we've got on September 24th for PC only released Greedfall 2. There was a little bit of success with the first Greedfall, maybe not as much as they'd hoped, but it's still warranted enough for a sequel to it. I'm curious to see how this one turns out. Again, I know a lot of content creators that got into Greedfall, so it'll be interesting to see what Greedfall 2 brings about. On September 25th, we have Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, which comes out for PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox, and that's on September 25th. And then on September 26th for Nintendo Switch, we do have The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So this one's the big one where you actually play as Zelda this time. So it'll be neat to see. Again, a lot of content creators going to be playing that one on stream.
The art style looks fantastic in it. Like, that's the one thing where I'm like, this is one of the games where it's like, you know what, Switch is starting to look pretty good right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Monster has always said, Nintendo's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for titles like this too. For September 26th, also we have Earth Defense Force World Brothers 2. This arrives on PlayStations 4 and 5 and Nintendo Switch. For September 27th, we have everybody's favorite game company, EA Sports, comes out with FC 25 on September 27th. That's for and that comes out for PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox. We have the Xbox Series X and S, as well as the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. And then lastly on this list for September 30th, we have Starfield Shattered Space DLC, and this comes out for PC and Xbox. This is one that I've been eyeballing. I have played Starfield. I haven't played it in a while. I did do some modding of it very kind of recently, but I haven't touched it probably since they've done a lot of these major updates. Kind of want to let things cook a little bit, and then have this DLC come out. I did complete my first playthrough. Like I beat the full story the first time around. Technically, you're supposed to do it like 10 times, and eventually there's basically it alters like every time you do New Game Plus. So it's New Game Plus 1, New Game Plus 2, New Game Plus 3. Every time you advance the New Game Plus, there's portions of the universe that change, for whether for good or for bad depends on your choices. So like I said, I've only ever completed the first New Game, so I'm only in New Game Plus 1. But Shattered Space is going to be really, really interesting. I really, really want this one to succeed, just because now that Starfield's kind of in a place where it's almost kind of gotten the Cyberpunk effect, where it wasn't that good on release, but now that they've kind of patched the bugs, put in a few more quality of life adjustments and fixes, they added a rover vehicle that now you can take on planets, so your planet traversal is a whole lot better, a lot quicker and a lot more efficient. Yeah, I'm going to be definitely looking into this one to see how it goes. So that is it for the list of upcoming games for the month of September. So now that we've gotten through that, the system's all powered up, let's grab our controllers and get into level 1. So, news this coming week. The first article that we've got here involves Quantic Dream's troubled Star Wars Eclipse title, which has now lost its lead writer. This was first announced at the Game Awards back in 2021 with an impressive but ultimately quite meaningless CG trailer. Star Wars Eclipse has been missing in action ever since. Just in case your memory needs refreshing, this is the Star Wars project from Quantic Dream, which is the studio behind interactive story titles like Detroit Become Human, Beyond Two Souls, and Heavy Rain. It's widely believed that the Star Wars Eclipse had to endure a difficult development cycle, with leaks in 2022 suggesting that the title was barely even in production. We haven't heard too much about the situation since, but the word of lead writer Adam Williams' departure doesn't exactly paint a positive picture. It is possible that Williams actually left after his job was completed on the project. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on Star Wars Eclipse?
I'm hoping that he's just done. Like I'm hoping that he's completed the work, but there's nothing that's been confirmed with this, unfortunately. So I guess the one reason why I put it on our news cycle this week is because I do think that this is something to kind of keep an eye on, because we could be looking at a game going into development hell. And it's a shame that that's going on. Quadric Dreams, I know, has been having some financial struggles and turmoil in the last little while as well. So it's not a huge shock that something like this is also kind of going on in the same breath. But I'm hoping that we're not looking at yet another game in development hell. This is one that I think a lot of people are keeping their eyes on. I'm interested, but I mean, unfortunately, it seems to be almost a plague that's going on with the Star Wars genre, because I mean, even with KOTOR remake, we don't really have any kind of new information for any of these games.
Yeah.
So I'm worried that it's yet another Star Wars game in development hell.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I've been thinking too. I mean that CG trailer, it looked good, but yeah, the fact that we have literally nothing else on this game to say what it is, who it stars, what part of the universe, what part of the timeline does it sit in. Yeah, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if this ends up going the way of the KOTOR remake, and it just basically sits in development hell.
It's been 3 years since it was announced?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And with no new information on it, it's hard to have any faith in this one in particular. And I mean, we've seen Star Wars games get canceled before, like the 1313 game that was supposed to be coming out I want to say about 5-ish years ago, give or take. Yeah, that one ended up getting kiboshed. With the remake, KOTOR remake being, stuck in hell. This one's now going to be stuck in hell.
We don't know that for sure. What I'm going to say this, I'm going to make a prediction. If we see something on like for the Games Awards this year, like we could potentially see something this year in December for it. If we see it, we know it's fine. But
Yeah.
if we don't see anything, I'm going to say it's in development hell. And that's going to be kind of what I think is going to be how I'm going to gauge it. Of course, unless we hear anything different between then and now. But I mean, I've got a feeling that if the director stepped away and his job is done, we're going to be seeing something in December. So fingers crossed that that's the case. But I don't know. I'm kind of more optimistic than you are, but I'm I am very leery of that though as well. I got a feeling we'll see something though at the Game Awards in December.
I want
Yeah.
to be optimistic as well, but 3 years and nothing. Well, but I say that, but look at I keep going back to Final Fantasy Remake. We didn't hear anything about that until 2019.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
and I mean, you got to take a look at the development cycles for games as well. A lot of them are hitting 5 to 6 years, right? So, I mean, they may have announced it too early. That might be on them as
Maybe.
well. And they say like, "Hey, we're still a production company. We're still a development company. We're still here. We're working on this thing. Please don't worry. We're still going to be making you stuff."
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Some of these companies be like, "Hey, remember this game we announced like 3 years ago? Yeah, we're still working on that."
Yeah.
I wonder
And we
if
just
that would
radio
see.
silence.
I wonder if that would fall under this. You mentioned Final Fantasy VII Remake. I wonder if that would fall under the same guise as what happened when the PlayStation 4 tech demo first came out. If you remember that one being a remake of the Final Fantasy VII intro.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, because all of a sudden everybody got like super excited when they saw that. Like, oh my god, they're remastering Final Fantasy VII. And then, yeah, it didn't come out for...
dreams.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But
So, I mean,
there's lots of games in development, hell. Like I'm still waiting on Rocksteady with Wonder Woman. Rocksteady, where the hell is it?
but yeah, like I said, I'm a little more pessimistic, but that's because of the KOTOR remake. Like it almost feels like the same song and dance as as that's kind of gone through. So that's where I'm.
Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's hard to say what will happen. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if your particular prediction, Mav, was correct though. We don't see anything until Game Awards happens, and if there's something there, then we can kind of rest easy. Okay, yeah, something's coming on the game. But if not, then it might be one of those things where we'll just all right, well, it'll sit in the back of my mind and collect dust until someone says otherwise, basically, and we're just not going to think about it. So that's done with that article. So the next article that we got here is Microsoft reportedly is working to relicense Deadpool and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Pardon me. So the Deadpool video game, as well as Marvel Ultimate Alliances 1 and 2, have long since been delisted. However, according to an insider, Microsoft is attempting to license Marvel Ultimate Alliance and the Deadpool games. This could be possible after the success of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie and the growing popularity of the original Deadpool game. Now, if I recall correctly, Mav, you have the Deadpool game, or had.
I do, and no, I'm not selling. I don't care. No, like here's the thing. That game, fantastic dialogue, fantastic script. It is hilarious. It's one of the funniest games I have in my collection. The gameplay leaves something to be desired. I'm going to say that much. It's still fun. It's simplistic. It's great. And I have played the Ultimate Alliance games as well. And I had a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, especially with friends. And it's kind of goofy as well a little bit, but this is the perfect time for Microsoft to be making these decisions. And I mean, they have Activision underneath their banner now. why not utilize some of these games? What I would not be surprised about as well is that they take a look at also at some point in time relicensing Spider-Man 1 and 2 that Activision did all those years ago as well. I don't know if either of you guys played those ones. It
Were they on the
was
PlayStation?
they were on the original PlayStation.
Ah, I
Yes.
think I played the original
PlayStation
Spider-Man.
1. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't
You
play
fought
those
along
ones.
it's fun. They were a lot of fun actually. That was the time that there might have actually been a little bit more hope for superhero games, and then they were kiboshed pretty quickly with games like Iron Man. But that being said, this is Deadpool's one of the better or one of the best superhero games that I've played. There's not many of them that I really like to boast about that I really enjoy. Of course, Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 4 and 5 now are phenomenal. The Arkham series is another one that I would say is a must play. But Deadpool and the other one that I really miss that I would love to see them redo, but I don't think they would touch with a 6-foot pole is The Punisher. The Punisher had one where it was actually voiced by Tom Jane. Phenomenal game. Got to interrogate criminals to try to get information and get them to help you out and stuff, and get information and kill them anyways, like and in brutal ways.
That sounds like a Punisher.
Yeah, it was. Those games all have a special place in my heart, and I'm very happy and very excited to see that they could potentially bring more fans into these games and revitalize them.
I wonder, would Microsoft be able to license Spider-Man with Sony's fingers in that particular pot?
Well, the thing is, I think they could get away without doing that because it's an Activision game, right? So Activision had licensed with Sony, I believe, at the time. But yeah, it's a little questionable because it sounds like you're familiar with this, Ryder. For those that aren't really familiar with everything that happened, the whole reason that we have Tom Holland as Spider-Man now is because Sony made a deal with Marvel and said, "Hey, look, we will give you the rights back for the movies, but we want the games. We want the cut of the proceeds. We want the merchandise.
Yeah.
You guys can do whatever you want with the movies, but we want a cut of the pie." So it is possible, but the thing is, it's also licensed under Activision. So I'm saying that I think it's a possibility. I'm not expecting that to happen for a long while.
Yeah.
I think that they need to see what happens with Ultimate Alliance and see what happens with Deadpool. I think Deadpool is definitely doable. I'm not sure about Ultimate Alliance because Spider-Man does have involvement in that game, and there might be licensing conflicts as well there too.
Yeah.
But it might also be them saying, you know what? Sony might say, hey, if you do these games again, it might bring more people over to Sony as well to play Spider-Man 1, play Spider-Man 2, play Spider-Man Miles Morales. So I don't know. It could be a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
Would be a good marketing strategy, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, Sony could come out and say, hey, you've tried Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Activision. Come try it on our system now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's hard to, like I said, the licensing thing is a tricky one, yeah, but you got to remember Activision was its own thing at the time. Now that Sony and Microsoft are literally two competitors when it comes to the consoles, yeah, there's a lot of gray area that can be easily misinterpreted, at the drop of a pin. So, that's one of those ones we'll just have to wait and see. But hopefully they do take advantage of the successes of Deadpool and Wolverine and bring life back to that game. Because I'd like to experience it. If they do bring new life back to it, I really, really, really hope they give it the Ryan Reynolds treatment. I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. But
the thing is, I think the thing is, you have to remember that who they actually had voicing Deadpool was still perfect casting. Was Nolan North.
Right, yeah.
He was perfect for that role. And you know what? Honestly, I've got a copy of it. Once your backlog dwindles a little bit, just say the word. I will lend it to you for a streaming session if you would like to give it a go. I think you would enjoy it. The the gameplay, as I said, it leaves something to be desired, but the script and everything that's behind it is hilarious. Like, you get to bitch slap Wolverine while he's unconscious as many times as you want.
So that's what I'd be
Oh.
hoping for. I would hope that, you know, if they re-release the game, rate it M for mature, and let the dialogue have a few more liberties.
It's
let's
M.
say.
It's already rated M.
Is it? Okay.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. No, that drops the F-bombs and swears and puts like C4 and toilets and stuff. And I mean, there's one part where you walk up to a urinal and he walks over to one guy and says, the two guys peeing, like two enemies, and says, "Hey, you dicks hang out here often?" Like, it's stuff like that.
Okay, that's fair then. Yeah, if they do make that one, I'll have to give that one a look. All right, so moving on to the next article, though. We have here an ex-Naughty Dog dev, an ex-Naughty Dog and Rocksteady dev, who wishes that the Series S never existed. So it's no secret that the Xbox Series S is not exactly the easiest console to optimize games for, but never has a developer openly actually spoken out about it, or spoken out against the system in such a negative way. That is until Del Walker, a former Naughty Dog and Rocksteady developer, took to Twitter to air out his grievances against Microsoft's budget next-generation console. Walker was quoted, "I wish the Series S never existed, man. So annoying to optimize for that console. I expect we'll unfortunately see more game launches get skipped by Xbox in the future." Not surprising, really. Considering the hardware differences between the S and X, I know where he's coming from. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the way he said it, but I definitely understand where he's coming from, especially somebody who works with technology as much as I do. I get it. I really do. And I mean, when it came to looking at consoles and things like that, there was a point where I was debating kind of between Xbox and PlayStation 5 back when they first came out. If I was going to go Xbox, it was going to be Series X. There was no way I was going to go to an S. If I'm going to buy a console, I'm going to get one that has better storage, more power, more expandability, and things like that. So
I'm guessing the S doesn't have any of that.
The S is you can still expand the storage on the S, but it's much lower powered, and that's the one thing you can't change.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered what the difference was between the two of them.
A lot of people would say, well, one's just digital and one has a disc option, and that's right to an extent. But the Series X is a lot more powerful. It has a lot more output, and in fact, it's actually gotten to a point where the reason why Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't released on Xbox when it was because there was a push to make sure that you could still have couch co-op available, but the Series S couldn't do it. So eventually, Microsoft had to actually concede to say, okay, no couch co-op for the Series S. So I actually had to optimize it because the Series S couldn't handle the couch co-op. But there is a pretty big difference. Now, the thing is, with the Series S, it is a budget-friendly system. And it's a great device for if you're on the road, and if there's somebody in a situation where they can't afford a brand new console. And I think in that case, it is a fantastic option. But yeah, spec wise, there's definitely a huge difference.
Even just looking at the processor, like the processor is 3 times as powerful on the X as it is on the S.
Oh.
Yeah.
The other thing too on the Xbox Series X, the S can't do 4K gaming.
Yeah.
Obviously there's the optical drive, which depending on the person, I mean, obviously as we're going to more digital things like that, that's almost really a non-issue. Yeah, like even going into video, the Series S can technically upscale to 8K, but not guaranteed. Whereas the Xbox Series X can straight up upscale to 8K without any additional hardware.
One of the things that I said early, and about the new consoles that were coming out, and I had brought up a concern that the Series S was going to hold back this generation. And with a developer voicing their opinion like that, it sounds like my worries are kind of warranted. But it's gotten to a point where it is also a non-issue. It just comes down to additional optimization. We will talk about another game that was released on PlayStation and skipped on Xbox here in a little bit, but I think that's going to be a norm for a little while, just so that that for games that aren't first party with Xbox, just to make sure that they're optimized correctly for these systems. But it is a concern when developers say that, and this isn't the first time that I recall that a developer has said this. And it is a little disappointing that unfortunately it has held back this generation a little bit. But again, we also have to take into account people that are in a situation where systems aren't affordable. And I mean, Ryder, you and I are lucky enough to be like, hey, you know what? We can put the money aside and we can take a look at getting a system, or in my case, like I was very fortunate enough to be in a situation where I could pick up both. But there's not many people that are out there that are like that. They have to decide one or the other, and they have to look at the games that are affordable to them. And the Series S is affordable, and it does work, and it does streaming. It does have Game Pass capabilities, and it works for a lot of people. Unfortunately for me, I'm a lot like you. I'm not going to go after the S. I would rather have the 4K gaming and have those other capabilities behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Rob, any other thoughts on that one?
I didn't even know the difference between the X and S, so I don't have an opinion.
No, that's fair. All right, so in that case, we can move on to our next article here. This one's kind of a good news article here. So Black Myth Wukong lifts Steam to 37 million concurrent players for the first time. So more than 37 million players were online on Steam for the first time in the PC platform's history, thanks to the raging success of Black Myth Wukong. Steam hit a new record number of concurrent players on August 25th, 2024, as exactly 37,266,324 users that were online all at once, according to player tracking website SteamDB. The popularity of Steam is always increasing gradually, but this spike in players, taking it from around 34 million most of July and early August to the eventual 37 million number, coincided with the record-breaking release of Black Myth Wukong. The action role-playing game set within Chinese mythology and the famous story Journey to the West launched into an enormous 2.22 million concurrent players on Steam, and therefore overtook Cyberpunk 2077 as the most played the most played single-player launch of all time on Valve's platform. It is currently the second most played Steam game of all time, behind only PUBG. So, not surprising. Like I said, it wasn't quite my cup of tea for a game, but I've been hearing a lot of good things from not just regular players, from obviously from Mav, who's played it, from content creators, from YouTubers, from game reviewers, and things like that. There's a lot of good things to say about this particular game, so I'm not in the least bit surprised that it's caused player numbers on certain platforms to spike as much as they did. Before we get to Mav, Rob, what are your thoughts?
I think that's pretty impressive to get that many concurrent players playing it. It was a big release. It was one of the most anticipated games of the year, so it's kind of not shocking to me to see this. So good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Mav?
Well, as you said, I have been playing it, and I jumped into it a little bit last night. I do have Outlaws kind of going on the side as well, but it is a lot of fun. It's I find the combat to be quite challenging actually when I'm playing it. But I've had a lot of fun with it. It's a beautiful game. And I'm happy that it's doing so well. I don't think Game Science was really expecting it to do as well as it has. Um, the only flaw that I've had with this game, and I think it would be a lot different if I had the Chinese language and then English subtitles. But the voice acting for the English side is not great. That's my only takeaway with that. Um, but other than that, the game is beautiful. The combat is fantastic. It's not overly a long game. I think it's only about 15 hours long.
really?
But yeah, I've had a blast with it, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it more. And I am hoping to get a review out soon about that, but again, I'll touch base on that shortly. But yeah, it's not shocking. A lot of people were looking forward to it. Even like I was kind of hemming and hawing about it, but I'm glad I jumped into it. I know that like I've been trying to tell Monster that I think this is a game that he'd absolutely love, and I'm really excited to hear his take on it as well.
Have you done a review on your Facebook page on this one yet, or you wait until you finish it?
No. I'll just touch base on this then real quick. My reviews that are coming out are staggering. So for everyone that has read any of my reviews and stuff, please bear with me for a little bit. My list right now for reviews that are coming out is unreal that I'm working on. There's Black Myth Wukong.
Backlog.
Oh, it's these are games that I'm actually going to get through though, Rob.
Good point.
Black Myth Wukong, Star Wars Outlaws, Astrobots, and then Space Marine 2. And these are all the games that are coming out like last week, this week, and next. And I've got I think there's another 4 or 5 that I have in mind, but that are coming out between now and December that I'm hoping to get reviews out for. So please bear with me, guys. I am doing everything I can to get the reviews out. Unfortunately, the reviews might come a little bit earlier than I was hoping with my playtime. I've been trying to actually finish the games, but I'm kind of bombarded, so it might be a review within 10 to 15 hours. So Black Myth Wukong, I'll try to get through it. Outlaws, apparently, if you golden path it, it's only 20 hours, so I might be able to get through that as well. But please bear with me, guys. I will do everything I can to get those reviews up as soon as I can. There's a lot happening in September and October for games.
Yeah, absolutely. And sticking with the Black Myth Wukong articles, this next article surrounds its Xbox Series X and S release, which was reportedly delayed due to a memory leak issue. So according to information gathered by an insider, Black Myth Wukong is suffering from a memory leak issue, which can cause significant crashes that can compromise the performance of Xbox consoles. As a result of the problem, the game has not passed Xbox certification and has therefore been indefinitely delayed until the development team at Game Science manages to optimize it for the Xbox Series X and S. The studio is already working hard to resolve the issue and pass the necessary bug detection tests. Game Science also plans to announce a release date as soon as it gets approved. For now, it is said that the Xbox Series X and S version of Black Myth is close to being ready. And again, I think this goes right back to the conversation that we had about the development saying, I wish the Series S was never released. So, having to optimize it not only for the Xbox platform, but to have to optimize it for a lower powered console, which is causing some memory leaks. Whether I highly doubt that that's that the Xbox Series S existing is the direct result of that particular memory leak, but it's kind of a funny little segue, from that particular article. I've seen memory leaks. I know what they do. I know how much damage they can do to hardware as well. So I'm glad to see that at least they realize it's there and they're not going to release a broken game to the public that's going to break their Xboxes in half.
Absolutely, but I think this is a developer that is a little bit more thoughtful with their words. So I don't think they're going to come out and say it like the one developer there. I believe his name was Walker. I think they're a little bit better off with saying, yeah, it's with the Xbox in general.
Mhm.
But I got a feeling that it has a lot more to do with the S. They're just, for lack of better terms, trying to cover their asses and not point fingers at one particular
Yeah.
console. That being said, I'm with you on that, and we've said it on this channel. Let it cook, let it cook, let it cook. If you
Yep.
need to make sure that things like this aren't happening and it's not going to start causing crashes to the point that I have to replace my Xbox because a game that I bought from you to give you support and a game that I knew I was going to enjoy is breaking it, I'd rather not buy it at all. So you
Yeah.
know what? Under the circumstances, Game Signs, my hat's off to you for making sure that you're following through and doing things correctly.
Yeah,
And I'm
absolutely.
glad that you guys are trying to correct this issue because I do think that this is a game that should have an opportunity to be in everyone's hands.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so it means we can move on to the next article here. So we have the Amazon Games boss telling striking voice actors that they don't have to worry about AI replacing them by completely insulting their craft. As the SAG-AFTRA members strike against some of the biggest video game makers in the world in an effort to secure better protections against AI, the head of Amazon Games is still pretty sure bringing artificial intelligence into game development is still a good idea. In part because for games we don't really have acting. Amazon Games CEO Christoph Hartmann said that he hoped AI can speed up the development process, which can take, quote unquote, like 5 years per game among AAA studios, leaving those developers constantly trailing behind the current zeitgeist. Hartman posited that hopefully AI will help us to streamline processes so hand done work will go fast. Ideally, we can get it down to 3 years so we can iterate more, which will then bring the budgets down a little bit. Where do I even begin on this? I mean, the fact from the
the thing
beginning,
that
I'm assuming, but
yeah, the one thing that he's trying to say, that I came across and I heard later on after putting this in was he said, "You guys aren't actually acting out the roles. You're voice acting. It's not the same because if there's an actor that's in a movie, they're a part of a craft. They're a part of art. You are not because you're just portraying your voice." And I do think that's quite insulting at times.
Very.
yeah, I've got 2 words for that: get bent.
So, but we all, and I think that what the voice actors are fighting for is absolutely called for. They need protections against AI because we have people like this that are saying, "Yeah, I'm willing to use it." Now, he's not saying at least that he's going to use it for voice acting.
Right.
Yeah,
He's saying that he's wants to use AI to enhance the development cycle and to enhance the game itself. I don't think that that is a terrible idea to
No.
speed up development as long as it's not being used for voice acting.
yeah. As long
But
as you're not, yeah, as long as you're literally not replacing the artist with something that's exactly them, so to speak.
yeah,
I mean, like I said, yeah, I've said this before too. AI in the gaming universe, AI has its place. Um, obviously, as technology progresses and things like that, yeah, we do want to make things more efficient. We do want to make things bigger and better and faster, and not cost as much money. AI can definitely do that. But again, it has to be used right. And that's the main thing. You can use AI as much as you want, but if you do it the wrong way, if you're literally throwing all these voice actors under the bus, other people are going to take notice of that, and it's going to hurt you in the long run.
Mhm.
Or at least it should, anyways. Yeah, I mean, we are all proponents of voice actors. We're all behind the voice actors here. Uh,
Absolutely.
I mean, we even had a little bit where we talked about our favorite voice actors in video games. Um, so yeah, I mean that when we buy video games, especially when they're story driven, especially nowadays, uh, we buy the games for the stories, but we also buy the games for the people behind the stories.
Mhm.
We buy them for the Nolan Norths, the Brianna Whites, the Wes Johnsons. We buy games to hear their voices, especially when we hear them for the first time. Like when I first played Elder Scrolls and I first heard Wes Johnson voicing Sheogorath for the first time, after he replaced, I can't remember who the actor was from Elder Scrolls 3, but Wes Johnson took over in Elder Scrolls 4. When I heard that he was going to be back in Elder Scrolls 5 as Sheogorath again, I was on it in an instant. There was no hesitation for me because I loved not just the character, but I loved the voice in behind him. Plus, he's also a big hockey fan, so big kudos. He would probably not a fan of yours because he's the PA announcer for the Washington Capitals.
I was just gonna say he's PA for Washington Capitals, ain't he?
So one of your rivals, basically.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'd like
Title
to
right,
add,
title
the
right.
one thing I'd like to add when it comes to the voice actors is they are absolutely actors.
Oh,
Not just
100%.
because they're voice, but I mean, how many of them are suiting up now for motion capture?
Mhm.
Well,
I
exactly.
mean, the Last of Us was shot with all motion capture.
Call of
I
Duty.
mean, yeah, and how many times do you think that they're saying there, like, the voice actor playing Arthur Morgan, how many times has he had to cough into a mic and, just have different variations of his cough? How many times has he had to say a certain line in different inflections? All these voice actors have had to do that, and they need to have their credit for that. But we also have to realize that this is coming from a CEO. This is not somebody that's directly involved with the games
Right.
themselves. So I do think we need to take it with a grain of salt and realize that this is not the thought pattern with everybody in Amazon gaming.
Do you have a thought there, Rob? Looks like you were gonna.
I actually did have a thought there when he was saying that it's no, you're not actors. That's the biggest BS that I can ever call out because just with the last 3 weeks or so, I saw a video from a convention that had an entire panel of different voice actors from different Final Fantasy games. The main crux of this video was that John Eric Bentley was talking about his performance during Rebirth in the Corel prison scene where it's Stein and Barrett and having their moment. John Eric Bentley talked about how he tapped into the emotion to bring that out, and he talked about going back to when his father passed away. So, come on, saying that they're not actors, I don't buy it. They 100% are.
Oh,
And
110% agree with you. Like it's more than just reading lines off of a script. You still even though you're not technically in front of the camera unless you're doing like mocap, like some of the other voice actors have done. But you hit the nail absolutely right on the head there. It's all about not just reading the lines off the script, but it's about making that character come to life in those lines.
yeah,
And you can't do that just by reading the lines off the script. There's a whole mental aspect that goes into voice acting, and it's really really tough. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, I can voice act." Yeah, go try it. I guarantee you, you're gonna fail if you're not trained properly.
during her streams, listen to Brianna White talk about her voice acting experience.
Oh yeah, exactly. And even just even just listening to Brianna White in general, just like kind of listening to her, like basically just kibitz, as her and herself. There's not a whole lot of Aerith in her that you can
No, there
hear
isn't.
in her voice. So when you compare her voice to what Aerith is, there's a very very big transition, not only with training and things like that, but again, there's that like exactly like you said, Rob. There's that emotional connection
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
character that really kind of brings out the character itself. So yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. To say that they're not acting, no, they definitely are. That comes part and
Yeah.
parcel with the whole gig.
And if you haven't seen it, go check out that video with John Eric Bentley. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
All
we're
right.
going to speak for everyone. We'll wrap it up. Fight the fight, guys. We're
Yeah,
with
exactly. All right, so let's get on to the next article then. So, quote, this really doesn't look promising. Unfortunately, Concord PC players are having a hard time finding matches in thanks to their ridiculously low player counts. Oh, pardon me. So Concord on PC currently has an all-time peak of 697 players. That's it, 697, not 697,000, 697 players. And this is according to SteamDB, and it's pretty damning. It's been a tepid first week on PC for sure. However, there are no public records for the player counts on PlayStation, so it's really all we have to go on right now regarding Concord's popularity. This, of course, doesn't account for PlayStation sales, but this could be one of the biggest game failures of the year. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was excited when they revealed the cinematic trailer at Summer Games Fest. I thought that was really, really cool. The story, I thought the story in behind it would have been, kind of entertaining and probably fun to see. And then the first gameplay trailer comes out going, oh no, it's another Overwatch clone.
And here's the thing, you're paying $60 for it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you're putting it up against Marvel Rivals. I got curious. I had to see how many players are in game right now. Who wants to take a guess?
I'm going to wager are you talking about the Steam numbers?
Steam numbers right now.
200.
Rob?
150.
Rob, you are the closest without going over. 171.
Wow, yeah. This game is in trouble, and it's not even a week old. So
there's one way of saving this game, and to bump their players back up to 700.
Make it free
to play. Yeah, free to play, and that's what's going to end up doing it. I think that this needs to be assigned to Sony to say, we don't care about live service games.
They do, but they got to be good.
Yeah, and I mean, no more hero shooters. No more hero shooters, please. This is enough. But the thing is, I laugh because they canceled 11 live service games, something like that, a few months ago.
Something like that, yeah.
And this is one of the games that survived. So can you guys imagine? Could you guys imagine what kind of games that they canceled?
Right.
It baffles me. You know what? And we said it before. Why would you advertise that game right beside Marvel Rivals? If I'm going to get into a hero shooter, I'm going to play one that's free. This one, I can see it being free to play at some point in the very near future. It's the only way to save their player count. Now, keep in mind, this is Steam. We don't know what it's like on PlayStation, but I can't see it to be that much higher.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it in the least. It's exactly to that point. You released it beside a game that does the exact same thing as you're doing, but free. Plus, you're still technically competing with Overwatch. I mean, Overwatch is going to be the juggernaut for this particular genre for a while, especially when it comes to the competitive scene. Overwatch League, although I think the league itself is still defunct, the competitiveness of Overwatch is still very much out there. There's still a lot of high money tournaments that are out there for professionals across the world. What a disaster. And I wish it could have been better, honestly, like I said, because I really enjoyed the cinematic trailer, but yeah, after seeing the gameplay and what it was going up against, yeah, I'm not in the least bit surprised that it's tanking as hard as it is.
All I've got to say about it is,
yeah, exactly. Finally, we have use for the Discord sound effects.
Or swing and a miss.
Exactly.
That one too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the second last article of the night. So Tencent, the developer Tencent, expands the Venture Lab initiative to better support early-stage developers worldwide. So Tencent, which is the world's largest games company, is expanding its efforts to support early-stage developers through its Venture Lab initiatives. This business unit helps new studios deliver their first game by providing investment, publishing, and marketing support, as well as consulting, access to technology, business planning, budgeting, and more. The team is led by Juno Shin, who has been working on business development and investment with Tencent for the past 12 years. Shin has been gathering a team of industry experts with around 20 working at Venture Labs so far to help expand the operations services. After working with hundreds of studios, you sometimes enjoy the success, and unfortunately, more often you share the pains of failures. But that's the nature of business, right? Success rate for debut games is not high, but that's why we take a great pride in helping devs cross a chasm from 0 to 1. After that, once you make a success, then it's time to scale up from 1 to 10, 1 to 100. Within Tencent games, there's level infinite, which helps on the more bigger budget games on publishing and helping them to further grow the game to a massive scale. So that's how we work with each other within Tencent Games' ecosystem. Surprisingly, coming from a very, very large company like Tencent, they've had their controversies in the past as well. But it's good to see something like this happen, where they're supporting other developers in making sure that games can get developed. Honestly, this is nothing but great news here. It's good to see that they're supporting other companies, no matter the size of the project. Which I think is probably the important thing to take away from here. It doesn't matter what size of developer you are, you have resources available at your disposal in order for you to bring a product out to the public.
I think this go ahead,
sorry,
Matt.
Rob. No, Rob, you please. I've talked a lot tonight. You go right ahead.
Yeah, you have no. It's good to see something like this, after how many episodes we've had where we're talking about layoffs after canceled games. This is something actually good to see come out of the game industry. So I'm happy to see this. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I was going to say something very close to the same lines. I mean, if anyone's to have the budget to be able to do it, it's Tencent. And it's, I hope other developers take note of this and help their team and their crews develop a little bit more in this regard. But it does likely take a lot of capital to be able to set up teams like this. I hope that this ends up being more of a standard, but I also see it being a very expensive move. So I don't think we're going to see it much of anywhere else, but I'm glad that it's a step in the right direction for a company somewhere to be able to do something like this. And it is great to see that they're saying, okay, we need to support our developers more. It doesn't happen very often. In a lot of cases, it's, okay, your job's done, get the hell out.
Yeah. Oh man, how many times have we seen that, just this year alone? And yeah, exactly what Rob said there too, seeing this in spite of all, or not, well, yeah, maybe even in spite of all the layoffs, laying off a bunch of developers, shuttering doors to different production companies and development companies. Now, we're starting to see kind of that turnaround. We've seen some new development companies open up overseas, particularly in Poland, was one that we mentioned a couple times in podcasts previous. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Mav's point. I hope more companies take notice. Maybe we'll see something along the lines of maybe Bethesda in Edmonton start supporting local developers in the prairies. Maybe Eidos Montreal does the same thing for
maybe EA Sports.
Yeah, right.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, you can wish in one hand, and you can put Mav's backlog in the other, and you can see which one fills up first.
I know this. I know the answer to that one.
I think we all do.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I said, yeah, maybe Eidos Montreal, takes control of, some funding in the Quebec and Maritimes region. Maybe you'll see stuff in the States happen. Maybe we'll see stuff in Australia happen. Who knows?
Wouldn't that be nice?
If this is the first domino to fall in an effect like this, I would be all for it.
Same.
Like I said, because it ultimately, in the end, it gives us, the consumers, more games to buy, basically.
That's all.
We can hope. We can only hope, and unfortunately,
And
I know there's
have
a lot
the
of
developers be able to make the games that they want
Yes.
to make.
yes, exactly. The unfortunate side effect is that unfortunately we're still dealing with a lot of greedy CEOs and things like that out there. But
Oh, those
right
don't
now,
exist. What are you talking about?
yeah, I wish that were the case. But anyways, yeah, I digress. So, going into the last article for the evening, Square Enix is going to be bringing more games to Xbox after Final Fantasy XIV's success. So, thanks to a really strong response on Xbox for Final Fantasy XIV, Square Enix seems committed to launching more of its games on the console. Though Naoki Yoshida, the director and producer of the MMO, also known as Yoshi P for those of you playing the home game, he didn't offer any specific examples of what could arrive next on the Xbox Series X and S. He was quoted as saying, "I'm happy to say that we've seen a really strong response on Xbox. We've seen communities starting to establish, and now they're growing." So, not a surprise. I knew that as soon as Xbox got its hands on Final Fantasy XIV, that it was going to open a lot of doors to not only the game itself, but to the franchise as a whole. So I'm really, really hoping that this blows the door opens for Square Enix to get more games on the platform. I know we've said it on the podcast time and time again when it comes to exclusivity clauses. Yeah, sorry, I took your line.
That's okay. That's cool.
It's time to get rid of exclusivity. With that, actually, I'll turn it over to you, Rob. I'll let you elaborate more, kind of on that line.
I'm glad to see this, that they're taking this approach, because we've talked about it time and time again, how exclusivity is just, to me, I think it's killing the industry. Maybe not to that extent, but when you
I'd
have
agree.
all these games coming out, going to be exclusive on this console, well, you're leaving out a portion of your audience. So get it out to different platforms. Like I've said it earlier in this episode, get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PC as soon as possible. We just saw the announcement of Final Fantasy 16 coming to PC, coming to Steam and Epic. So keep it up, Square. Like we need to get these games out. Like it doesn't have to be as soon as possible, but some news would be nice about when these games are coming out.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, Square is constantly saying, we're not selling enough games, we're not selling enough games, we're not selling enough games.
Then put them on different platforms.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's exactly my thought here too, Rob. And I mean, it's like they're acting like they're shocked that Final Fantasy 14 is doing well on Xbox. I'm going to say this, and I'm pardon my French. Duh.
We can
like
edit.
What
can edit.
What did you expect? Like, okay, and I'll put a quarter in the swear jar. But like honestly, under the circumstances, like you're right. This needs to start happening more, especially with Square. They gotta stop. Like they've come out and said, we are going to put more games on multiple systems. The only games that I'm expecting to see be exclusive on PlayStation at this point in time is the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. The next Final Fantasy VII game will have a clause that it's going to be exclusive for X amount of time, and who knows, maybe it'll get released on Xbox as well. We're still waiting to hear if that's ever going to happen with Remake and Rebirth. The exclusivity clause now, if I'm not mistaken, is done.
Yep.
So they may have the opportunity to start doing that here in the near future. But I think you're going to see that game get moved onto PC a lot sooner onto Xbox if it ever sees the light of day on Xbox, because Sony may not allow that. But Square absolutely needs to make those decisions. They had one really bad flop last year with Forspoken. And that was, we were going to talk about biggest big disappointment games. That was mine last year, and it sucked. It was so early, and it sucks that it's from one of my favorite developers. But there are also games that they came out that actually were a lot of fun, that had great combat, like Valkyrie Elysium. I had a blast with that one. Ryder, that game was right up your alley. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake completely opened a whole new genre for me, and it got me interested in that a little bit more. And it's the same style of combat. It's a great game. Didn't sell so well though either. A lot of people slept on it. Square needs more games on more consoles.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah. And so I'm hoping that, I definitely hope that this kind of throws the door open. Yoshi P is probably one of the best developers out there, or I guess more of a producer than a developer, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, Yoshi P is the face of Final Fantasy 14. They literally have an in-game event based on him, and it's more about him and his team. And he'll always, and he's a very, very humble man too. He'll always say that he wants it more focused on his team. It's all about his team. But everybody knows who Yoshi P is in Final Fantasy 14. So I know, Naoki Yoshida is he's an incredible producer. And so him singing high praises, saying that we need to get more Square titles on Xbox Series X and S. I'm hoping that he's got that kind of clout that he can start kind of nudging people out the door, saying, hey, go make this, get these games and go put it on this platform. You're going to get more money if you do.
And Phil Spencer, I'm sure, will be happy to have those conversations with Square as well.
I'm sure he would.
And
Phil Spencer needs to hurry up and get our sponsorship on this channel here. So
that being said, Xbox, get your Game Pass at Xbox.com.
That was for you, Monster.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, like I said, I think we're all in agreement. Yeah, having Square Enix games on more platforms, 2 very, very big thumbs up from all of us, or in this case, 6, I guess. So yeah, that is.
Of course, you had to be difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Caesar. But anyways, that is the end of the news articles here. So we can go ahead. We can put down our controllers. We can power down our systems here. So before we go, Agent Maverick, where can people find you in the world of the internet?
So you're going to be able to find me on the new Geek Corner. As I mentioned, there is a ton of games that I'm hoping to review here this year still. So right now, as I said, I'm powering through Black Myth Wukong. I'm working on Star Wars Outlaws. Astrobot's coming out next week. Space Marine 2 is coming out. I've got a pre-order in for the DLC for Diablo 4. There's Silent Hill coming out. And Indiana Jones. The list goes on at this point. And my backlog, I got to a point when just before I left for vacation, I left and I was like, I'm happy to be going away, but this is the worst time for me to be going away right now when it comes to these games. Because had I stuck around, I would have been able to power through Black Myth Wukong before Outlaws. So I appreciate everyone's patience while I get the reviews out. I'm going to ask Ryder to probably do a review for me for Visions of Mana whenever he gets to that. But I will do what I can to get everything up and running. I appreciate everyone's patience. But yeah, there's going to be a lot happening. I don't know about any streaming sessions because it's just going to be trying to power through these games. But who knows? Maybe there'll be a streaming session or two with Monster coming up with Space Marine 2. So I will keep you guys in the loop. And that, again, you'll be able to find me on the new Geek Corner. I will make sure I post when I do go live and make sure I have a schedule out for that. But at this time, as I said, it's going to be on hiatus because there's just so much to go through at this point.
All right. And Irish Bandit Rob, 2 questions. Where can we find you, and where can we find your book?
Well, you can find me over on my YouTube channel where I post every Monday and Friday. Well, not Wednesday right now. I will be coming back to Guardians of the Galaxy. I made that decision. I will be coming back to it just as soon as I get past that one area that I'm stuck at. But I will be coming back to it. So I'm just taking a little break right now. But other than that, I do post every Monday and Friday for sure, where I am playing mod for Doki Doki Literature Club called Doki Doki Relapse. And then on Fridays, I am playing the OG Final Fantasy VII. And I still got ideas for long form videos coming up too. I still got to finish the script on my Tifa video. So that'll be coming up before too long. And I'll be talking about this in a second, but I'll also be releasing the audiobook version of my novel Shade Falling on my YouTube channel. You can get that over on Amazon. You can get that through either Kindle e-reader or on paperback.
Perfect. And as for me, you can still find me over on Twitch, although I don't have a set schedule anymore. I will be playing games, hopefully on the regular. I'm currently playing through Star Wars Outlaws myself. I may also be adding Visions of Mana to the list. We'll kind of see what happens here. Between that, if there's a chance, I may possibly get to God of War Ragnarok in between before Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out. Obviously, Dragon Quest 3 2D HD remaster. That's going to be a big one that I'm going to be super excited to stream for all of you over on my Twitch channel. So I've also got some YouTube. I got a YouTube channel as well where I've been doing some videos on. There's a new indie game that's currently in early access called Tales of Old Rust. So if you are into roguelike card battlers, it's an amazing game. Great gameplay, amazing soundtrack. So make sure you guys go check out my videos over on YouTube as well. Regardless of where you want to find any one of us, all of our information is going to be right down below in the video description. You can find all of our link trees there. And yeah, that's where you're going to be able to find us. So
yeah, before we take off, I did find the list of the games that I'm going to be reviewing real quick, if you don't mind. So there's Black Myth Wukong, Star Wars Outlaws, Space Marine 2, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Astrobot, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Dragon Age Veilguard, and Indiana Jones, and likely Metal Gear Solid is likely going to be thrown in the mix there somewhere too. So just so you're aware, that's what my backlog is right now, or my front log, I guess. Whatever. Some of these games haven't been released, so it's a very long list. So that's what I'm going to be working through.
I can shorten your list by one right now. The review for Black Ops 6 is it's Modern Warfare 3, but worse.
I hope not.
No, the Call of Duty Next event was today. So, yeah, it's Call of Duty. It's Modern Warfare 3, but worse.
Oh boy.
So, hey, open
campaign
beta
only. Campaign only.
Well, there you go. And open beta is coming out right away here too, so you can still get your hands on it and try it out before you buy it too. So. There is that. But in any case, that is going to do it for us. Like I said, all of our information, you can find us down below in the video description. So it is time to power off the system and say goodnight. So for Agent Maverick 86 and for Irish Bandit Rob, I am Right of Pride 639, and we'll see you all on the next level.